Okay, I guess that'll be good enough. I hesitate to get it too much closer. I think you can see what I'm going to do from there. Okay, so I've got my 1¼ screws up here. I've got my 1 5/8 up here. And I've got my ground screw in here. And I'm trying to think, what am I going to do with that? And I guess I can decide that here in a minute, right? I don't have to decide that right this minute. Maybe I'll go like that. And let that one kind of go out that way. Because see, I got to get this in there, like so. I just have to push those over. I want enough of my ground so I can wrap it around that screw. I guess I can put it that way, like that. Okay, like that. And let's see if my 1¼ screws. You see, look at that. My 1¼ screw is right there. Is flush beyond, and so it's barely going in. So that's something. So my 1 5/8, are those going to work? Yeah, those are going to work just fine. And got a little sheetrock that's coming out there. I'll make sure. Okay, I see it. I see it right there. And I can just hold it up there like that. Get it started. Am I a licensed electrician? No. Do you have to be a licensed electrician to be able to install your light fixture? Heck no. What for? I don't see any reason why you would have to. As long as you take care, knowing what you're doing and all that. I got a ton of how-to videos on my channel having to do with electrical. And if they're on there, I know you can do it too. Okay, or else I wouldn't put them on there. Alright? Salad. Okay? So that's supported up there nice. I've got that over here and that. I don't think I need to like really cram those screws up there any more than that. That should be fine, right like that. Okay? My 1 5/8 drywall screws came in for me at clutch time. And they will for you too. Make sure you get 1 1/4, 1 5/8, 2 inch, 2.5, 3 inch. They always come in handy, let me tell you. Now, to figure out what to do with that ground wire. Now, what to do with that ground wire? Okay, you see there's a loop on that ground wire. I can reuse that, or there's a couple of different ways I can do this. Because on the bracket itself, there's that ground screw, right? So what I could do is I can make that ground wire straight, or I could cut that loop off because there's enough room on it. Then I could reach in there further, wrap the ground wire, the solid ground wire, around that screw, the ground screw, just once, and then tighten it up and leave the rest of that ground wire sticking out, right? I could do that. Or I could take that ground wire and I could wrap it around that green screw, and I could take the ground wire that's coming from the the light fixture, and I can wrap that around that wire too. Now, remember how long this wire is. You see there? It's probably, maybe 6 inches coming out of there. I could wrap that around the ground screw. I could wrap that solid wire around the ground screw and then do it, but that doesn't give me a very good connection. Another way I could do it is I could take this and wrap this one around the ground screw up in here. Reach up in there and wrap it right there, wrap it around, tighten it up, and then let this stick out. And then attach this to the ground wire coming out of that box. So there's several ways to do it, okay? I just got to pick one and decide which way to go. Okay, have you decided which way you're going to do it? Well, I'm gonna decide. I've got my wire nuts up here, got this fixture up here. I got to be careful with that. I don't want that to fall, do I? I'm gonna undo this screw, this ground screw, and I mean, here's the other thing. Don't even have to use that ground screw. This box or this bracket is screwed to a plastic box, and they just do that all the time. They always put a ground wire. Could you take the ground wire from the light fixture and attach it to the ground wire here and not even attach it to the box? Yeah, probably. You probably could, but I'm thinking I could wrap this, because I thought if I can get it on that and let it hang down, then I can let go of this light fixture without having to put a wire nut on there, for instance. Right? And so I'm trying to wrap it around the green screw, and you see I only have a little bit of wire left. Then I would have to attach that with that, push it back up in the box. I could probably do that. And this is only going to hang down that far. But, this light fixture, I could probably do that. Like that. What do you think? I think there's enough to mess with. And the light fixture's not very heavy. And so I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this up here. I've got the ground wire wrapped around, and now I should be able to let go of this like that. See, and it's just hanging from there. Okay, and before I do the ground wire, I think just for the sake of safety, I don't think that ground wire is ever going to break off, but I can take my white wire, let's say, let's figure this out, and take my white wire here, and I'm just going to kind of wrap the end around there a little bit. Take my wire nut, put it on there. That's in case the ground wire screw wants to fall off, or the ground wire wants to pull off. I don't think it ever will. Let's see. Now I've got the whole thing up here. I could have stripped the stranded wire a little bit more, but I didn't, to wrap it around a little bit further, but it's okay. Once you think you got it tight, pull on the wires, especially the stranded wire. Make sure it doesn't want to come out. Because sometimes, believe it or not, you might think, oh, I'm fine, and you go and pull on one of the wires, and son of a gun, it comes right off. Because of how it's threaded on there. Okay, so now I've got my ground wire, and am I going to cut it? No, I'm not going to cut it. I'm just going to undo the loop-de-loo on the end. And it's got a little sheetrock mud on it that I'm probably going to have to just kind of scrape off a little bit and clean off. I don't want to make my ground any shorter if I can help it. Okay? By code, you're supposed to have 6 inches coming out of the box. Okay? And I got, maybe barely 6 inches. I wouldn't want to cut it up here just so I could put a wire nut on here, see? I'm going to have to take my solid wire and just kind of refashion it to where I can get to my ground wire. Okay? And then I'll have to push all of that up into the box. And that one I can wrap the ground wire a little bit, kind of like I did the others, and put my wire nut on. Can you believe it? It's on the ground somewhere. Oh, here it is. And once I do that, I've got to still have enough room for this box to fit up in there, remember? And so I'm going to have to be strategic about that. And see how I'm going to do that. That's going to be tricky in itself. But I can do it. I can do it somehow. Somehow I can probably finagle it in there. Let's see if I can't get the wire nut in there. Okay, I got it kind of pushed up in there, and I want to see how this is going to fit. Ooh, look at that. Oh no. Look at that. Because that transformer is in there, are you kidding me? I think I may have to notch out the side of the sheetrock on both sides in order to fit that up, to fit the screws in and all that. It's not a whole lot of sheetrock on both sides, but it's a little bit. Can you believe that? Okay, so I'm going to have to measure this 2.5. And see, the box is about 2 inches. I'm going to have a notch on both sides of the box, and this thing sticks up out of here. Wow, right out about 5/8 of an inch, and I think that's about what I have to fit up in there. Unbelievable. That's kind of hard to fathom. I guess these are really designed to fit into a round box, because where the notch is, it can't go that way. I don't believe. Now let's just measure this. Okay, that's 2 1/2, and that's 2 1/4. I know it won't fit up in there that way. Son of gun. Unbelievable. So that's going to have to go up like that, and I've got to notch the sheetrock out. And it looks like, depending which way I hold it up there, is going to be dependent on which way I notch that. Boy, I think I'm going to have to go this way. And most of the notch looks like it's going to be on this side. Wow. And then I'm still going to have to finagle those wires up in there, and the wire nuts and all that. This is a little bit trickier than I thought. Or the wires can fit up inside around here. I guess I could do it that way. And yeah, that's how I'm going to have to do that. Okay. Wow. I'm going to have to do a little measuring there, notch that out, and see what I can do. A little bit trickier than I thought initially, but we'll get her.